A bed is a piece of furniture used as a place to sleep or relax. It has a secondary use as a place to engage in sexual relations. Most modern beds consist of a soft mattress on a bed frame, with the mattress resting either on a solid base, often wooden slats, or a sprung base. In North America, many beds include a box spring in a sprung base, a large mattress-sized box containing wooden springs that provide additional support and suspension for the mattress. Beds are available in many sizes, ranging from infant-sized bassinets and cribs, small beds for a single child or adult, to large queen and king-size beds designed for two adults. While most beds are single mattresses on a fixed frame, there are other varieties, such as the Murphy bed, which folds into a wall, the sofa bed, which folds out of a sofa, and the bunk bed, which provides two mattresses on two tiers. Temporary beds include the inflatable air mattress and the folding camp cot. Some beds contain neither a padded mattress nor a bed frame, such as the hammock. Beds may have a headboard for resting against, with others also having side rails and footboards. Headboard-only beds may incorporate a dust ruffle, bed skirt, or valance sheet to hide the bed frame. To support the head, a pillow made of a soft, padded material is usually placed on the top of the mattress. Some form of covering blanket is often used to insulate the sleeper, often bed sheets, a quilt, or a duvet, collectively referred to as bedding. Bedding is the removable non-furniture portion of a bed, which enables these components to be washed or aired out. History. Ancient world, early beds were little more than piles of straw or some other natural material. An important change was raising them off the ground, to avoid drafts, dirt, and pests. Bedding dated to 77,000 BC was discovered in Sibadu Cave, South Africa. The bedding consists of sedge and other monocotyledons topped with the leaves of Cryptocarya woody NGL. Beds found in a preserved northern Scottish village, which were raised boxes made of stone and likely topped with comfortable fillers, were dated to between 3200 BC and 2200 BC. The Egyptians had high bedsteads which were ascended by steps, with bolsters or pillows, and curtains to hang around. The elite of Egyptian society, such as its pharaohs and queens, even had beds made of wood, sometimes gilded. Often there was a headrest as well, semi-cylindrical and made of stone, wood, or metal. Ancient Assyrians, Medes, and Persians had beds of a similar kind, and frequently decorated their furniture with inlays or appliques of metal, mother of pearl, and ivory. The image to the right showcases a headrest. Headrests like this were used in life to support the head while sleeping. They are also found supporting a mummy's head in the coffin. This headrest perhaps was made specifically for the tomb, since the offering prayer has been inscribed on the supporting column, although the prayer may have been added after the death of the owner. The oldest account of a bed is probably that of Odysseus. A sharp buoy woven of rope plays a role in the Odyssey. A similar bed can be seen at the St Fagans National History Museum in Wales. Odysseus also gives an account of how he crafted the nuptial bed for himself and Penelope, out of an ancient, huge olive tree trunk that used to grow on the spot before the bridal chamber was built. His detailed description finally persuades the doubting Penelope that the shipwrecked, aged man is indeed her long-lost husband. Homer also mentions the inlaying of the woodwork of beds with gold, silver, and ivory. The Greek bed had a wooden frame, with a board at the head and bands of hide laced across, upon which skins were placed. At a later period, the bedstead was often veneered with expensive woods. Sometimes it was a solid ivory veneered with tortoise shell and with silver feet. Often it was of bronze. Folding beds, too, appear in the famous ancient Greek vase paintings. Roman mattresses were stuffed with reeds, hay, or wool. Feathers were used towards the end of the Republic, when custom demanded luxury. Small cushions were placed at the head and sometimes at the back. The bedsteads were high and could only be ascended by the help of steps. They were often arranged for two people, and had a board or railing at the back, as well as the raised portion at the head. The counterpanes were sometimes very costly, generally purple embroidered with figures in gold, and rich hangings fell to the ground masking the front. The bedsteads themselves were often of bronze inlaid with silver, and Elagabalus had one of solid silver. In the walls of some houses at Pompeii bed niches are found, which were probably closed by curtains or sliding partitions. Ancient Romans had various kinds of beds for repose. These included lectus cubicularis, or chamber bed, for normal sleeping; lectus genialis, the marriage bed. It was much decorated, and was placed in the atrium opposite the door; lectus descubitorius, or table bed, on which they ate, for they ate while lying on their left sides, there usually being 3 people to one bed, with the middle place accounted the most honorable position; lectus lucubratorius, for studying; and a lectus funebri, or a mortualis, on which the dead were carried to the pyre. In the early Middle Ages they laid carpets on the floor or on a bench against the wall, placed upon them mattresses stuffed with feathers, wool, or hair, and used skins as a covering. Curtains were hung from the ceiling or from an iron arm projecting from the wall. They appear to have generally lain naked in bed, wrapping themselves in large linen sheets which were stretched over the cushions. In the 12th century, luxury increased and bedsteads were made of wood much decorated with inlaid, carved, and painted ornamentation. They also used folding beds, which served as couches by day and had cushions covered with silk laid upon leather. At night a linen sheet was spread and pillows placed, while silk-covered skins served as coverlets. The Carolingian manuscripts show metal bedsteads much higher at the head than at the feet, and this shape continued in use until the 13th century in France, many cushions being added to raise the body to a sloping position. In 12th century manuscripts, the bedsteads appear much richer, with inlays, carving, and painting, and with embroidered coverlets and mattresses in harmony. Curtains were hung above the bed, and a small hanging lamp is often shown. In the 14th century the woodwork became of less importance, generally being entirely covered by hangings of rich materials. Silk, velvet, and even cloth of gold were frequently used. Inventories from the beginning of the 14th century give details of these hangings lined with fur and richly embroidered. It was then that the four-poster bed made its first appearance, the bed being slung from the ceiling or fastened to the walls, a form which developed later into a room within a room, shut in by double curtains, sometimes even to exclude all drafts. The space between bed and wall was called the rowel, and very intimate friends were received there. The 14th century is also the time when feather beds became highly prized possessions. In the 15th century beds became very large, reaching 7 to 8 feet by 6 to 7 feet. The mattresses were often filled with pea shucks, straw, or feathers. At this time great personages were in the habit of carrying most of their property about with them, including beds and bed hangings, and for this reason the bedsteads were for the most part mere frameworks to be covered up, but about the beginning of the 16th century bedsteads were made lighter and more decorative, since the lords remained in the same place for longer periods. Renaissance and modern Europe in the 17th century, which has been called the century of magnificent beds, the style à la duchesse, with tester and curtains only at the head, replaced the more enclosed beds in France, though they lasted much longer in England. Louis XIV had an enormous number of sumptuous beds, as many as 413 being described in the inventories of his palaces. Some of them had embroideries enriched with pearls, and figures on a silver or golden ground. The great bed at Versailles had crimson velvet curtains on which the triumph of Venus was embroidered. So much gold was used that the velvet scarcely showed. In the 18th century feather pillows were first used as coverings in Germany, which in the fashions of the bed and the curious etiquette connected with the bedchamber followed France for the most part. The beds were à la duchesse, but in France itself there was great variety both of name and shape. The custom of the bed of justice, upon which the King of France reclined when he was present in Parliament, the princes being seated, the great officials standing, and the lesser officials kneeling, was held to denote the royal power even more than the throne. Louis XI is credited with its first use, and the custom lasted till the end of the monarchy. In the chambre de parade, where the ceremonial bed was placed, certain persons, such as ambassadors or great lords, whom it was desired to honor, were received in a more intimate fashion than the crowd of courtiers. At Versailles, women received their friends in their beds both before and after childbirth, during periods of mourning, and even directly after marriage, in fact in any circumstances which were thought deserving of congratulation or condolence. During the 17th century this curious custom became general, perhaps to avoid the tiresome details of etiquette. Portable beds were used in high society in France till the end of the Ancient Regime, the earliest of which mention has been found belonged to Charles the Bold. They had curtains over a light framework, and were in their way as fine as the stationary beds. Iron beds appear in the 18th century. The advertisements declare them as free from the insects which sometimes infested wooden bedsteads. Elsewhere, there was also the closed bed with sliding or folding shutters, and in England, where beds were commonly quite simple in form, the four-poster was the usual citizen's bed until the middle of the 19th century. Bed sizes. Bed sizes vary considerably around the world, with most countries having their own standards and terminology. While the double size appears to be standard among English-speaking countries, based on the imperial measurement of 4 feet 6 in by 6 feet 3 in, the sizes for other bed types tend to vary. The mainland European sizes differ, not merely because of the use of the metric system. In the mid-1950s the U.S. bedding industry introduced a new size, the king size. A king-sized bed differs from the other sizes in implementation, as it is not common to have a king-sized box spring. Rather, 2 smaller box springs are used under a king-sized mattress. It is a common misconception that in a U.S. standard or Eastern king, the box springs are identical in size to a twin extra long. However, twin extra long mattresses next to each other add up to 78 inches wide instead of the 76 inches width that is standard for an Eastern king. Another size variant in the United States is the California King, which measures 72 by 84 inches long. What is referred to as a single bed in many parts of the world may also be known in U.S. terminology as a twin bed. In some countries, a twin bed may also be used to describe one of 2 single beds in the same room. As another example, in some cultures, the full mattress is referred to as a master-size bed when a mattress is available in fixed size, and the description does not specify the exact size. This table may be used. All mattresses are made according to certain standards, but different brands sometimes have exceptions. Most often, the difference is 2 to 5 inches. When calling a business to check, specify the exact size of the mattress. Notable beds. One of the largest beds in the world is the Great Bed of Ware, made in about 1580. It is 3.26 meters wide, 3.38 meters long. The bed is mentioned by Shakespeare in Twelfth Night. It is now in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. Another bed in the V&A is the Golden Bed created by William Burgess in 1879. In 1882, an Indian Maharaja had a bed made of solid silver. At each corner of the bed there was a life-sized statue of a naked woman holding a fan. When the Maharaja lay on the bed, his weight started a mechanism that made the women wave their fans. Around 1865, one could acquire a convertible bed in the form of an upright piano, which could provide home entertainment while saving space. Types. There are many varieties of beds. An adjustable bed is a bed that can be adjusted to a number of different positions. An airbed uses an air-inflated mattress, sometimes connected to an electric air pump and having variable firmness controls. The portable version of an airbed can also be rolled up and packed, so is meant for travel or temporary guest use. A bassinet is a bed specifically for newborn infants. A box bed is a bed having the form of a large box with wooden roof, sides, and ends, opening in front with two sliding panels or shutters, often used in cottages in Scotland. Sometimes also applied to a bed arranged to fold up into a box. A brass bed, constructed from brass. A brass-platted bed is a cheap bed of iron, a false brass bed, with a thin covering of brass, which with time peels off and the iron is exposed. A bunk bed is two or more beds, one atop the other. A loft bed is similar to a bunk bed, except there isn't a lower bunk. This leaves space underneath for storage, other furniture, etc. A captain's bed is a platform bed with drawers and storage compartments built in underneath. A camp bed is a simple, temporary, portable bed used by armies and large organizations in times of crisis. A canopy bed is similar to a four-poster bed, but the posts usually extend higher and are adorned or draped with cloth, sometimes completely enclosing the bed. A curtained bed is a luxury bed with curtains. A daybed is a couch that is used as a seat by day and as a bed by night. Usually it has pop-up trundle which is used as bed in the night. A futon is a traditional style of Japanese bed that is also available in a larger Western style which can fold halfway for sitting. A four-poster bed is a bed with four posts, one in each corner, that support a tester. A hammock is a piece of suspended fabric or netting, used on ships and in some homes. A hideaway bed, invented by Sarah E. Good in response to the needs of apartment dwellers, folds up into another piece of furniture, such as a shelf or desk, when not in use. A hospital bed is specifically designed to facilitate convalescence, traditionally in a hospital or nursing facility, but increasingly in other settings, such as a private residence. Modern hospital beds commonly have wheels to assist in moderate relocation, but they are larger and generally more permanently placed than a trolley. The hospital bed is also a common unit of measurement for the capacity of any type of inpatient medical facility, though it is just as common to shorten the term to bed in that usage. An infant bed is a small bed specifically for babies and infants. An iron bed, developed in the 1850s, is constructed of iron and steel. A kang bed stove is a Chinese ceramic room heater used as the platform for a bed. A manjar is a traditional Punjabi bed made of tied ropes bordered by a wooden frame. A mourning bed is a formal canopied bed, with the deceased, a wax effigy, or symbols of rank. A Murphy bed or wall bed is a bed that can fold up into a wall or cabinet to save space. An Ottoman bed is a type of storage bed in which the storage area is placed underneath the mattress base and accessed by lifting the hinged mattress frame with the help of a spring or hydraulic mechanism. A pallet is a thin, lightweight mattress. A platform bed is a mattress resting on a solid, flat raised surface, either freestanding or part of the structure of the room. A roll-away bed is a bed whose frame folds in half and rolls in order to be more easily stored and moved. This is used in different settings, including hotels for either free or a nominal fee per night, where more people than expected may need to sleep in the same room, e.g., 5 people in a hotel room for 4. A rope bed is a pre-modern bed whose wooden frame includes crossing ropes to support the typically down-filled single mattress. A sofa bed is a bed that is stored inside a sofa. A state bed developed in early modern Europe from a hieratic canopy of state. A toddler bed is a small bed for young children. A trundle bed or truckle bed is a bed usually stored beneath a twin bed, also sometimes referred to as a sleepover bed or day bed with pop-up trundle. A vibrating bed is typically a coin-operated novelty found in a vintage motel. For a nominal fee, the mattress vibrates for a duration of time. Alternatively, it is a modern bed which vibrates by use of an off-center motor. It is controlled by electronics for varying time and amplitude settings and is used therapeutically to ease back pains. A waterbed is a mattress full of water.